Hi there, my name is Kareem. I'm a product manager with Amazon QuickSight, and today I'm going to talk to you about democratizing data insights with Amazon QuickSight embedded dashboards. So, a quick walk through the agenda. We're going to talk about why embed analytics, and then we'll touch upon Amazon QuickSight and understand why use Amazon QuickSight. And then we are going to marry the both and talk about how you can do embedded analytics using Amazon QuickSight. So let's talk about first, why do you want to embed analytics? So in today's world, where everyone has access to different type of applications, every application is generating tons and tons of data. This data without any sort of formatting or any sort of insights is just noise. So first thing that you need to do is you need to be able to create some sense out of this data and create some insights. Once you create that, so your applications generate a lot of data. You convert the data into insights, and then you can bring those insights to your end users by embedding these insights directly into your applications where your end users can access when they access your application. That is embedded analytics. Now, once you have done this, how does it actually help you or your business? The first thing that it does is it enables you to differentiate your product. Today, your product would be something like a SaaS application or an internal application doing something for your external or internal users. By adding embedded analytics, you have been able to differentiate your offering in the market. Second, you also enhance your customer experience or your user experience by giving them data and giving them a true embedded experience where they can start taking actions and make decisions from the data that you have embedded for them. And three, this also helps grow your business because it opens up new monetization opportunities. Now, let's talk about who wants to embed analytics. There are three types of entities. The first one is a independent software vendor who wants to provide a service via their SaaS application. They have end users coming to their SaaS application and they can embed analytics inside their SaaS applications where their end users come and give them a complete comprehensive experience. Second is an enterprise who has internal applications for their internal users. They can be employees, they can be vendors, and so on. And the enterprise can embed analytics into their internal applications for their employees and give them some data where they need, where they are. And third is think about public portals. Think about your neighborhood school district or think about your county, and they want to share some rich data analytics with the public, and they can embed rich analytics into their public portals for the public to be able to access. Or you want to embed some public facing data into your marketing pages of your application so that it helps your potential customers understand how your offering is standing out. So, as an ISV, you can embed analytics into your SaaS applications for your external users. As an enterprise, you can embed analytics into your internal application for your employees, or as a public entity, you can embed analytics into your public portals for public to be able to access. Now, you can go ahead and build embedded analytics on your own, but by doing that, you're actually going to slow yourself down. You're going to incur a lot of learning costs as well as development costs. And every time you want to build a new capability, you have to spend time developing and instead spend time in the cost for doing the development. Hence, if you were to go with an embedded analytics offering, your time to market is reduced, which makes it a competitive advantage in this market. You don't have to worry about growing costs because all you need to do is spend cost on development of embedding analytics. And in coming slides, we will see how to do that. And you don't have to worry about launching new features for embedded analytics. The deep analytical capabilities are available to you as the offering of the embedded analytics platform. So now that we have seen why would one want to embed analytics and why would one want to go with an embedded analytics offering, let's see how Amazon QuickSight comes in to fill in that gap for you. So first thing is, with Amazon QuickSight, you can empower your users, you can enhance your applications, and we are going to see how you're going to do that. Amazon QuickSight is a scalable, embeddable, ML-powered BI service. It is built for scale. What that means is it is serverless and cloud native. You don't have to worry about any server deployments or infrastructure deployments. And it is built for scale. As your user base increases from tens to hundreds to thousands and on, Amazon QuickSight automatically scales for you without you worrying about any infrastructure. For your embedded analytics, Amazon has a very rich developer-focused APIs and SDKs and enables multi-tenancy and gives you deep customization capabilities so that your developers can quickly embed and give a seamless experience to your end users coming to your applications. With ML-powered insights that Amazon QuickSight offers for you, you get out-of-the-box, very cool offerings that we are going to see in the coming slides with respect to machine learning, AI, and natural language querying. You don't have to build these functionality with Amazon QuickSight, you get them out of the box. And last but not least, QuickSight is enterprise ready. What that means is it has high availability, it has the compliance, the granular access, and the data security that you want to give to your end users, and at the same time, be able to manage their access. Now, let's talk about how QuickSight meets all of your embedded analytic needs. First thing is, QuickSight gives you an interactive dashboard that you build and you can embed into your applications. These are rich dashboards with different types of visualizations. They provide you data filtering, data export capabilities, enable multi-tenancy, and are also interactive. You can also give to your end users email reports, and you can customize and personalize these email reports so that your end users get the same seamless experience of these reports or these dashboards when they come to your application and see a seamless experience. You can also enable your power users by giving them the self-service authoring capability embedded in your applications, where these power users come to your application and start building multi-tenant dashboards that they can share with their users. They don't have to leave your application and go somewhere else to author dashboards. Last but not least, you can also embed the ML AI capability, what we call as QuickSight Q, which enables your end users to query data using their natural language in English. We are going to see each of these, how you're going to do this and enable your end users in the coming slides. So now that we have seen what is embedded analytics, why would you want to do that, and how QuickSight comes to bridge that gap, let's go into building out embedded analytics for each of these offerings that we talked about. So you can embed dashboards, number one. Number two, you can embed the QuickSight Q natural language querying feature. Or number three, you can embed authoring experience, which is also a monetization strategy for your business, as you can enable this for power users at a cost. That is a revenue for you. We are going to go through each of these. And as we look at embed dashboards, we will also look at the fourth capability, which is personalized emails. So in order to embed dashboards, all it takes is 3 steps. First step is you can author rich interactive dashboards. As you can see here, you can do different types of dashboards with very rich analytics inside these dashboards. And then you can give it the look and feel of your application using themes. Once you have authored these dashboards, in order for you to embed this, step 2 is to give the domain where you want to embed this dashboard. This is to make sure that QuickSight is able to identify which domain is requesting this embedded dashboard to avoid any sort of security issues. And once you have given the domain where you want to embed this dashboard, in order to embed the dashboard, you can go down two paths. First path is one-click embedding, which is for enterprises, and the second and public. And the second is for ISVs using APIs. We are going to look at one-click embedding for enterprises and now available for public too. So you would click on copy embed code in the share dashboard screen. Once the code is copied, let's say that you want to embed this dashboard into your SharePoint. So you would go to your SharePoint, click on embed code. You copy that entire iframe code that you clicked on when you said copy embed code into your SharePoint embed snippet, the way it is shown here, and you click on insert, and the dashboard is embedded. It is as simple as that. Copy, paste, and you're done. You can do all of this and share with all users or individual users in your enterprise or a group of users in your enterprise, and you still don't need any servers. Let me show you a quick demo on one-click embedding. So let's say that you have an internal application or even an external facing application, a public site, and let's call it any company consulting. And here you have a home page and you have insights, which is where you want to embed some performance related metrics. You have created these performance related metrics as a rich QuickSight dashboard, as you can see here. And you want to be able to embed this for your internal users, or if this is something that you want to show as a marketing thing for your external public, you can also do that. So the first thing is you have created a dashboard. Now you are going to enable the domain or allow this the domain where you want to embed this dashboard. So you would go into manage QuickSight and then click on domains and embedding and then start entering the domain where you want to enable this particular dashboard. Because my site is on Google site, I am enabling sites.google.com. So now I'm back in my dashboard. And here is where I can enable the dashboard for a single user, for a group of users, or for everyone. So let me take a quick pause here. So if you see here, I can add users one by one with whom I want to share this dashboard. Or I can enable this for the entire enterprise. And everyone in my company can access this dashboard wherever it is embedded. Or I can enable this for anyone on the internet, which is public. It depends on what your use case is. If you want to just share it with a set group of users for your internal usability, you can just go with here, where you can give a specific user ID or a group name where you have added users to. If you want to show it for the entire enterprise, you can do this option. If you want to show it to the entire public, you can do this option. So now that we have shown this dashboard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a particular user, because I'm just going to embed it for one particular user as a part of the demo here. I'm going to add them as a viewer. So as you can see, user 4 is added. I could have gone and added a group also or enabled it for the entire account. I'm copying the code now by clicking on copy code. And then I go into my Google site. And here on the right side, you see the menu embed. And I'm going to click on that menu. And Google gives me an option to embed the code, and I'm just going to paste the code I copied. I'm not doing anything else. We get to see a quick snippet of what that looks like. And because this is shared for the particular user, this requires authentication. If it were for public, then everyone would have been seen without authentication. So now it has been embedded with just a single click. And the user, when they come to this particular page, they will be asked to authenticate one time. And once they have authenticated, every time they come back to this page in that session, they will be able to see the dashboard seamlessly. So as we are doing some look and feel adjustments, and once we are complete, we can go ahead and publish the site. So as this site gets published, now anytime we come to this dashboard, you will be asked to log in. You will see a login pop-up now. So this is the login pop-up, and here the user 4 will be logging in. If you remember, the ID with whom I shared was user 4. And they're going to authenticate themselves. This is one time, if they have not already authenticated. Once they have authenticated, they can access this embedded dashboard. So with one click, you can embed a dashboard anywhere in your application with a copy paste. You can share it with a single user, a group of users, your entire company, which we say everyone in the account, or for your entire public. And if you do it for entire public, you don't require any authentication. Now, let's talk about the second way to embed dashboard. If you're an ISV, you can do it with APIs without any user management. So think about a case where you have a SaaS application and you have thousands and thousands of users that come to your application. In that application, you also want to give them rich analytics. So you want to embed a QuickSight dashboard. But at the same time, you don't want to manage those thousands of users even in QuickSight. Hence, you can embed using APIs a QuickSight dashboard without user management and still give a multi-tenant experience. So what happens is when a user A comes, they see data that is only valuable for them and which is what they are supposed to see. Same for user B, customer C, and customer D. But they all come to the same application and access the same dashboard. They are not managed in QuickSight, but they get to see a multi-tenant dashboard. The API that you will be using for this is generate embed URL for anonymous user. Like I said, you don't need to provision users in QuickSight. And at runtime, you can enable multi-tenancy. We'll see a quick demo on how you can do this. So let's say that you are a SaaS provider for a group of hospitals or a hospital network. You have hospitals around the country, and you have embedded the operating cost and the revenue of the hospital network into your SaaS application. The finance team from every hospital across the country or from a region comes to this dashboard and sees how a group of hospitals in a particular region or a single hospital is performing financially. Here, because the user base is big, you don't want to manage those users in Amazon QuickSight. But at the same time, you want to make sure that if a finance person is coming from a particular region, they see data only for that region or only for that hospital. So we have created a multi-tenant dashboard experience embedded with no user provisioning. So let me quickly take you through that experience. So here, as you can see, this dashboard is hospital revenue. We have about 3 hospitals: Downtown Hospital, North Hospital, and South Hospital. And they are across different regions: Central, East, South, and West. Each of these regions has a combination of the 3 hospitals we serve. Currently, imagine that a power user is coming in and they're able to see all the data. But now, in order for you to create a multi-tenant environment, you would go to the data set that is powering this and create some tags. The tags that you would create are on the columns that you want to create a multi-tenant experience. The two columns that I'm going to select are, first is hospital, so that I can filter out the data based on hospital, based on who is accessing. So I create a tag called customer underscore hospital. The second tag that I'm going to create is on for the column region, so that I can also give a multi-tenant experience based on the region the end user is accessing this dashboard, embedded dashboard from. So now I have created the two tags, enabled it onto the dataset. Now I will show you how you can enable multi-tenant experience on this dashboard using the two tags that we created without having any knowledge of who the user is. So this is my API call for embedding the dashboard anonymously. If you remember, the API was generate embed URL for anonymous user. In that, we have a section called session tags. And in this, you, for every tag that you have created, which we call a key here, customer hospital and customer region, you can pass the value based on who is accessing your application. You are at better purview of understanding what your end user has access to. So the two tags that I've created, customer hospital and customer region, are being passed with values in that particular API call. So when I call this API, I get an embed URL. And if I render this embed URL, as I'm copying this embed URL from my output, here you can see now that that embed URL is rendering the dashboard, but it is showing data only for hospital north in the region central and east. Because at runtime, these are the values I passed for my end user who is at purview for only these regions and North Hospital. Now let's say that the CFO for North Hospital is accessing your application and you want to show the data for North Hospital across all regions. So in that case, you change the tag for regions to star. Means they can see data for all hospitals, but still, sorry, for all regions, but still for North Hospital. So let me render this quickly. And as it is rendering, now you can see that there is a lot more data showing up. The revenue has definitely shot up from 110K to 284K, but it's for North Hospital across all regions. So this is one way you can create an embedded experience for your end users using the API when they are in thousands and you don't have to manage users, and at the same time give them a multi-tenant experience. Now, let's say that you created this experience and you want to also give them email reports. You can send customized email reports using Amazon QuickSight. What does that mean? What it means is that you can customize the from address so that your end user doesn't see the email coming from QuickSight, but instead sees the email coming from you. You can customize the logo again, so that the email has your logo and not QuickSight. You can customize the deep link where the customers, your end users, may want to go and see the actual dashboard, and the deep link can go to your SaaS application instead of coming to QuickSight. And you can customize, last but not least, the email footer. Let's quickly see how you can do that. So you, as a admin, you can log into Amazon QuickSight console, and then you can click on Manage QuickSight. In that, you have account customization, and we have a new setting called email report template. When you click on that, you will see that by default, you have 4 options available. The first option is who is it sent from? And by default, it is email reports are sent from QuickSight, no reply at quicksite.com. The logo is QuickSight logo. The deep link where the dashboard opens so that your email user can interact with the dashboard is in QuickSight. And the footer is by default no footer. You can customize each of these to give a seamless experience to your end users. So let me quickly show you that. So let's go ahead and change the from address or from whom it is sent. So I selected the radio button, custom email address. So here I'm actually entering the email address. This email address has to be something that is verified in your Amazon SCS account already. So I'm entering a custom email address here and I'm verifying it by clicking on the verify email button. Once I verify my email address, I have to give the policy, authorization policy, so that QuickSight is able to send the email on your behalf from your SCS verified email. So this is a policy that we give you that you can copy paste into your SCS email authorization policies. This is a step required. Once you do that, you can verify your authorization. And if you have done this rightly, you will say that yes, QuickSight is authorized to send emails on your behalf using your SCS authorized email address. So any email report that goes out will go out from whatever custom email address you provided. Now, you can also give a friendly name that can show up, which can say that from my company sales as a friendly name that shows up along with your email address. So I'm just going to type in a friendly name here, which is any bank. And if you see here, it says any bank customer report with your email address. This is what your end user will see instead of seeing no reply at quicksite.com. Then you can customize the logo. By default, it is QuickSight logo, which you can enable and take and upload an image. We have some file restrictions on the image. It has to be of type JPEG, PNG, and so on, up to 1 MB. And as long as I'm meeting those restrictions, you can upload any image. And once you do that, as you will see here, as I'm selecting it from my local hard drive, so once this is selected, you can see what that image looks like in preview in your own application. This is what it will look in the email. Here, you have the option to customize the background color with the hex. Right now, I have left it at all black, which is hex 00000. Then you can also decide where the dashboard in the email opens up. This is where you can provide your SaaS application site address so that when the customers or end users click on view dashboard in the email, they are taken to your SaaS application instead of going to QuickSight. So I can type out whatever my SaaS application is where it is embedded. So once this is done, but for just this demo, I'm going to go back to open in QuickSight, and then I'm going to add in a custom footer. So the email template is saved. Now we have to go and set up an email schedule so that this email report is sent out to those users on a regular schedule. So here you would click on email report. You will set up a quick template schedule telling that, hey, send this every week starting on a particular day in June. And for this demo, I'm going to say send it only once. So you will be able to send it to every reader that you have provisioned in your QuickSight. And as you can see, this particular dashboard has been sent as an email report with the customized from address, customized logo, the URL where it opens, and the footer. So now let's move on to how you can embed ML capabilities, specifically natural language querying. But before that, let's talk about what are the different ML and AI capabilities available in QuickSight. You have auto narratives, where QuickSight will generate a summary of your metrics in plain language. So instead of just telling 35%, you can have QuickSight write a quick summary saying your views grew 35% week over week. You also get ML predictions using Amazon SageMaker models. You get Amazon QuickSight Q, which is QuickSight's natural language querying offering. We are going to see how to embed this. You can enable anomaly detection. If you remember those days when you suddenly saw a spike and you had to go through log files to understand the spike, QuickSight will be able to give you the answer within a fraction of minutes. And then you can also, using your past data, have QuickSight model out what your forecasting looks like so that you're better prepared for the holiday season this year, or with respect to how you need to understand what your sales are going to be, how much inventory you need to have, and how you need to scale your infrastructure to support your sales side. So now let's talk about how you can ask questions in your own application using QuickSight Q, which is the natural language query. Here is a small screenshot of how a fictitious company, Octane Financial, has embedded the Q bar, as you can see here, and enable customers to ask, or the end users to ask, very English specific questions as if they are having a conversation with a customer rep over a call. They can ask your application directly to show, hey, what was my revenue by merchant, or what was my sales last year, and they get the data right there. This is what QuickSight Q enables you to do. Basically, it enables your end users to ask data in natural language as if they're having a conversation. In order to embed Q, you would be calling the API, generate embed URL for registered user. And in that API, the thing to note is experience configuration, which says QuickSight search bar, initial topic ID, and which is where you would give this topic ID that you have defined when you have created different topics for Q. Let's look at a quick demo. So in this demo, let's say that you are a financial SaaS provider where different customers have opened an account with you. And here a particular customer has a checking account and savings account. And imagine that if you were having a bank account, you would have different questions like, hey, what was my expenditure last month? What was my balance last month? How did my balance grow 6 months prior? You would have these questions. And what would you do normally is you would go back and look at your history and try to identify those answers. But QuickSight Q makes it easy for you, as if you're having a conversation with a teller if you are in the bank, but get answered much faster than what the teller would give you. So to see this, right now, this is the application. The customer has two accounts, a checking account and a savings account. And they have the different transactions that they can access. But now let's say that you want to embed Q. Let's go and show you how to embed Q bar. So here I'm calling the API. The API generate embed URL for registered user with my experience configuration as a Q search bar. And then when I do that, I get the embed URL for the Q bar, which I'm going to copy paste it into my application. which is what I have done here. I've just copy pasted into my application. So once I do that, the Q bar starts to show up here, as you can see, into my application. It's literally like a search bar. But here you can actually, the customers can start typing questions in their natural language as if they're having a conversation. So here, the question that I'm typing in is, show who deposited the most in 2020. If I were to do this research on my own, I would have to go back into my historic transactions and find it out. But with Q bar, I was able to get this answer within minutes, right there. So with Q, you can bring natural language querying and embedding it. You can bring it to your end users and give them a seamless experience. Now let's talk about how you can embed authoring experience. Authoring experience is where you enable the entire QuickSight authoring console into your application so that your power users can start building dashboards for their own users by creating a pure multi-tenant environment. So here is a sample of how a multi-tenant environment looks like. You have 3 namespaces. Default namespace is what your namespace is, and you have 2 customers, customer A and customer B. Both have their own namespace A and B. Now, under default namespace, you have users that you bring. Under namespace A, your customer has users that they brought in. And under namespace B, the customer B has users that customer B has brought in. It's purely a multi-tenant experience because users from namespace A cannot see or access users from namespace B and vice versa, and also from the default namespace. Hence, you can bring your own datasets in each of these namespaces, create those dashboards, and share it only with users in your namespace, creating a pure multi-tenant environment. And by doing this, you can also give your power users the ability to create rich dashboards and share it with their own users, and thereby creating a new monetization opportunity for you. This is what an embedded experience of a authoring experience looks like, where you have just embedded the entire console, as we call it. This is the QuickSight console, and your end users from each namespace, based on what their role is. If they're an author, they see the screen, and here you can define what it is that they can access to. They can access to it. They can go to the home landing page, which is what we call here. They can access just the dashboards or a particular dashboard. They can access all analyses or particular analyses, and so on. The API for that is generate embed URL for registered user, the same as what we saw in QuickSight Q. But here your experience configuration is QuickSight console, and initial path is what you want your end users to land on. It can be the home page, it can be all the dashboards page, or the particular dashboard page, all the analysis page, or a particular analysis page, and so on. So as we saw, Amazon QuickSight is a scalable, embeddable BI service architected for the cloud. You can use Amazon QuickSight's built-in customizations to give a seamless experience to your end users and embed those quickly into your applications using our one-click or APIs and give a multi-tenant experience. And with themes, you can make this blend seamlessly into your application. And with our SDK, you can give interactivity so that the dashboard is not just giving a visual cue, but also can interact with your embedded dashboard by passing data back and forth with your application. Here are some resources, some links that will help you with any sort of documentation about what we spoke about. Thank you. And again, this was Kareem. And if you have any questions, reach out to QuickSight-embedding@amazon.com or my email address below. Thank you for taking your time, and hope you have a great experience embedding QuickSight dashboards into your application. Bye-bye.